David Martinez is a young man who, despite his family's financial difficulties, attends the prestigious Arasaka Academy at his mother Gloria's request in the year 2076. David illegally modifies his cyberware in order to avoid paying for a required update in order to continue attending class. However, the modifications cause the school system to crash, and Gloria agrees to pay for the damages. On the way home, David has a brief argument with his mother before being caught up in a drive-by shooting that severely injures Gloria. David gains access to Gloria's savings account in order to pay for her medical expenses and discovers she has stolen a military-grade Sandivistan spine implant. David discovers, to his dismay, that Gloria's condition has worsened after being assaulted by his classmate Katsuo, and she dies in the hospital. David, now completely broke and enraged at Katsuo for insulting Gloria, meets with Doc, a local ripper doc from whom he regularly purchases black market goods, and requests that the Sandivistan be implanted into his own body. Doc agrees to install the Sandivistan, which bestows superhuman strength, speed, and reflexes on David. David returns to school and beats up Katsuo with his new abilities. He does so in full view of the academy's security cameras, resulting in his expulsion. Tanaka, Katsuo's father and an Arasaka executive, notices that David is able to use the Sandivistan with no apparent side effects, making him a valuable test subject for their latest product. Meanwhile, as David wanders aimlessly through the city, he meets Lucy, a young netrunner who agrees to take him on as a partner. David collapses due to overuse of his Sandivistan after a night of pickpocketing marks on the subway. Lucy returns David to Doc, who prescribes immunosuppressants and warns him not to take his Sandivistan more than twice a day, despite the fact that David appears to have a remarkable tolerance to it. Lucy invites David to her apartment, where she reveals her ambition to relocate to the moon. She shows David a virtual reconstruction of the moon's surface, but it turns out to be a ruse to get David to sell out to a gang of Edgerunners. The gang confronts David, led by a man named Maine, who reveals that Gloria sold the Sandivistan to him the day before her death and that he is one of her acquaintances. David reveals himself to be Gloria's son and offers to work for Maine, proving his compatibility with the Sandivistan. Maine, intrigued, honors his friendship with Gloria by giving David the opportunity to prove himself. David then goes home, having lost faith in Lucy. The following day, David rejoins the gang, and Maine introduces him to the other members, Kiwi, Dorio, and Pilar. David then takes part in a heist to steal navigation data from Maxim, an Arasaka driver. Due to unexpected complications, David and Lucy are forced to steal Maxim's limo in order to obtain the data. Maine saves them from a Tiger Claw biker sent by Maxim to assassinate them and officially inducts David into the gang after being impressed by his performance on the job. Faraday, Maine's fixer, also introduces David to the task of stealing Maxim's navigation data in order to obtain information on Tanaka's movements. The Academy then sends David a message inviting him to return, but he politely declines. As a new recruit, David is trained and instructed by the other gang members, including running errands for Pilar and his sister Rebecca, learning to drive from Maine, and night jogging with Lucy. He also helps the crew with several jobs, including taking out a gang of scavengers, rescuing Rebecca from the Maelstrom gang, and assisting Lucy with pickpocketing. Lucy is a talented netrunner, but he knows little about her past. David admits to Maine that he has feelings for Lucy, but he is certain she does not, and he is unsure whether he should trust her. David eventually begins to feel at ease with the gang. Pilar, on the other hand, begins harassing a homeless man urinating on the street on his way home from a bar. The homeless man is revealed to have cyberpsychosis and kills Pilar unexpectedly with a concealed gun. When the cyberpsycho targets Lucy, David approaches him with his Sandivistan and shoots him, with Maine finishing him off. While the rest of the gang stays behind to deal with the mess, Lucy reveals that her dream of going to the moon is genuine. David promises to take Lucy to the moon, and they kiss. The gang searches for more information on Tanaka, and Kiwi reveals that she discovered he secretly participates in illicit braindances created by JK. David recognizes the initials as Jimmy Kurosaki's handle, a well-known snuff BD director who also custom tunes BDS for special clients such as Tanaka. The gang attempts to kidnap JK because they see an opportunity to ambush Tanaka, but he outwits them, captures David, and flees the scene, with Lucy and Dorio pursuing. JK subjects David to traumatic BDS in order to induce cyberpsychosis before he is apprehended and captured by Lucy and Dorio. With no other option, JK agrees to entice Tanaka, but only after warning David that the Sandivistan will inevitably cause him to go cyberpsycho. Tanaka arrives to meet JK and is later captured, but not before JK is killed in the crossfire. With a trauma team unit on the way, the gang is forced to flee with Tanaka, while David is troubled by JK's words. Main begins to show signs of cyberpsychosis when he loses control of his implants, randomly blacks out, hallucinates, and has significant mood swings, culminating in him losing control and suddenly assaulting Kiwi as she attempts to hack into Tanaka's cyberware, seriously injuring her. Lucy agrees to take Kiwi's place, but only if Main is kept away, and David accompany her. Tanaka regains consciousness as Lucy enters his mind and begs David to let him go, telling him that he was responsible for rescinding his expulsion from the academy, that he still has a future there, and that the Edgerunners will kill him after extracting his information to tie up loose ends. This causes David to pause for so long that Tanaka's neural implant shorts out, potentially killing Lucy as well. Dorio safely disconnects Lucy, but the gang's jammer is disabled, resulting in the trauma team receiving Tanaka's vitals and traveling with the NCPD as backup. Main sends David and Lucy to their escape vehicle first, while he and Dorio distract the authorities with Tanaka. During the battle, however, Main succumbs to his cyberpsychosis, resulting in Dorio's death when she tries to protect him. David attempts to save Main from the heavily armed police forces, but all he gets is to watch as a remorseful Main blows himself up, along with Dorio's corpse, leaving David to flee with Main's cybernetic arms. David has become the new leader of Main's Edgerunner group, having taken on more implants, including Main's arm implants, and becoming a well-known Edgerunner himself, a few months after Tanaka's botched kidnapping. He has, however, been unable to persuade Lucy to rejoin the crew. Following the completion of a job for the fixer Wake Echo to rescue a VIP from the Maelstrom gang, David is approached by Faraday, who offers him a job from Militech against Arasaka as a test to see if he is worthy of inheriting Main's final job to recover the data Tanaka was hiding. Faraday also requests that David make another attempt to recruit Lucy. David returns home and talks with Lucy, wanting to learn more about her past. She reveals that she was a member of a special team of child netrunners, raised and trained by Arasaka to search the old net for lost data. However, the work was dangerous because it exposed them to rogue AIs and malware, which killed a large portion of the team. Lucy eventually escaped Arasaka and arrived in Night City. She also admits that, whereas she used to be only concerned with herself, she is now more concerned with David's health. Later, Lucy assassinates an Arasaka agent, who is looking into data about a test subject who has been mysteriously erased from Tanaka's records. Taking over Faraday's role, David murders an Arasaka lab director while suffering from cyberpsychosis. Meanwhile, Arasaka counterintelligence is looking into the deaths of Arasaka personnel. They stage an assassination attempt on Faraday, who narrowly escapes, believing Militech is involved. Faraday contacts Arasaka instead, after Militech refuses to protect him due to his lack of success in recovering data on Arasaka's cyberskeleton project. Arasaka is willing to forgive Faraday for Tanaka's death in exchange for him tracking down and killing the netrunner responsible for hiding Tanaka's data. Meanwhile, David continues to exhibit signs of cyberpsychosis and is traumatized after killing an innocent staff member who reminded him of his mother. Doc suggests that David reduce the number of implants he has only to be attacked by David, severing their relationship. David tries to recruit Lucy again, but she insists on taking care of something first, and David considers breaking up with her. Lucy then notices another Arasaka agent searching for Tanaka's data and goes to kill him, only to fall into a trap set by Faraday and Kiwi. After questioning Lucy, Faraday and Kiwi discover that Lucy actively concealed Tanaka's data on David as a potential test subject for the cyberskeleton and was responsible for Tanaka's death to ensure his silence. Recognizing this, Faraday plans to give Arasaka Lucy and David in order to secure his position in the company. In order to accomplish this, Faraday assigns David a mission to attack an Arasaka convoy. David enlists the help of Kiwi, Rebecca, and Falco, and they successfully seize the convoy's main cargo, which turns out to be the cyberskeleton. A Militech force then arrives, thanks to a tip from Faraday, with the intention of forcing David to install the cyberskeleton and use it to destroy the Militech force as a demonstration of its power. Kiwi flees as Faraday impersonates Lucy in order to trick him into installing the cyberskeleton. Lucy is able to flee briefly and warns David about Faraday's deception before being apprehended. Angry, David uses the cyberskeleton to destroy the Militech force, despite the massive toll it takes on his body. He then tells Rebecca and Falco that they are going to rescue Lucy and get revenge on Faraday. David fights his way through Militech Arasaka and Maxstack forces on his way to Arasaka Tower with Rebecca and Falco. Meanwhile, David's condition worsens as his immunosuppressive medications run out. Meanwhile, Kiwi reconsiders working with Faraday and decides to cut ties with him, so he has her killed as a loose end regarding the cyberskeleton. Before she dies, Kiwi informs David and the others of the whereabouts of Faraday and Lucy. David attacks the tower, killing the Arasaka guards, rescuing Lucy, and incapacitating Faraday. Realizing the situation has spiraled out of control, Arasaka deploys legendary cyborg Atom Smasher to put David down. Faraday is killed in the fighting, and Atom Smasher crushes Rebecca to death. David tasks Falco with getting Lucy to safety while he stays behind to hold Atom Smasher off. Despite having the cyberskeleton, David is no match for the more experienced Atom Smasher, but he dies happy knowing Lucy is safe and without regrets. Sometime later, Lucy fulfills her dream of traveling to the moon but is despondent that David is not there with her.